Test, 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 test. Hey, it seems to be working. Hey, this is Dave. This is What's Up Dave, my daily stream where I catch up with my friends on the internet and share what I'm working on and all that kind of stuff. Today is Friday, October 20th. It's about 2 p.m. I'm just about eating lunch. I'm trying to perfect my bachelor chow. So let me show you this. So I'm on I think a variation, or I guess I'm on Tim Ferriss's slow carb diet, and like there's a few food groups that you can eat from. So this is kind of my what I've ended up eating. Let's see, that's strange. So this is a mixture of black beans and pinto beans, which you can eat as many of as you like. Of group one of the groups of the three that you're allowed. Then peas, which is one of the other groups that are allowed, and then some pork. This is pulled pork out of the smoker. I've added a little bit to this big pot of it. So this is a pretty cheap meal. It's like frozen peas, a big cheap cut of Boston butt, which I think was something like $1.49 a pound or something like that. And then after 9 hours in the smoker, it's transformed into something that's really actually quite good to eat. Oh, am I getting audio? I hope I start this again. Just double checking that. Yep, this seems to be working good. So I have this pot of this stuff now, and this should last me for like a few days, actually. And it actually tastes pretty good, or I enjoy it. Now the big thing will be, am I actually going to lose more weight on this? I think I've stalled again. I've been eating a little bit too much. But we'll see how that goes. I'll put this aside for now. What else is new? Behind me there is, I wish there was a way of detaching that camera. Behind me there's, well actually up here there's the figures I got yesterday. I showed them off yesterday, I think, but it's actually daytime, so we can actually have a better look at them. So let's take a look at those. Let me just reconfigure this camera a little bit. Move this over here. I guess I could have just brought them down. But this will be fun to just show the top of my desk, top of one of my shelves. Alright, I wish I could reach this thing wirelessly. So, this is the figure from Space Battleship Yamamoto 2199. This is like a limited edition Negobot that's been customized for my birthday. My friend Alan was making these vinyl Sofubis of one of the characters he designed. And there's some other toys that are up here. This is the Major from Arise, Ghost in the Shell Arise, which is like kind of like the rebooted one. So slowly getting some little toys up here. I want to eventually make this kind of a nice little pop cultural pile of goodies. Tachikoma, some productivity related stuff, Sofubi, that's where that went. Put that in the other pile. Not a whole lot of other toys though, kicking around. Like some TIE fighters. I really should clean this place up a little bit. Just moving some stuff around. That really is it for show and tell. There's not a whole lot else going on. Work-wise, what I'm doing is working on my thought processing system. I'll show you what I'm working on right now. So the thought processing system, if you go to GitHub, I guess I should post a link to this. Yeah, I'll post this link. So the thought processing system this is what I was working on yesterday during my virtual co-working session. And it's a way of representing chunks of knowledge. And what I've ended up with is, these are the things I need to capture in a chunk of knowledge. So, an informal subject, which is something I define, an informal project name, some informal keywords, the required canonical path to this chunk, which is a unique kind of like a knowledge identifier. Like, for example, I might have a hierarchy like it's under food / Chinese / stir fry or something like this. And I can have a number of them. A related scope of knowledge. Is that actually what I'm calling again? Actually, that's changed. That's supposed to say... That's supposed to be a related projects. I'll just leave the word scope out of it. So the idea of a project is, just some endeavor that I'm doing. And so, for example, if I'm cooking pizza, maybe there's a related project to that, which is cooking bread, for example. So the idea is, like, by having these kind of links, is that I'll eventually form kind of this interweb of related subjects that, when it goes to the publishing system, then you can kind of find anything that's related. So I want to build this into the system itself. And additionally, each chunk of content has some formal categorization as opposed to the informal. And this is using existing universal classification systems. BISAC is used by the books group, study group. This is used by, I think, bookstores. It's sort of like the Library of Congress classification or the Dewey Decimal System, but this one's designed more for commercial books and is therefore more developed. Whereas like the other classification systems, from what I've read on Wikipedia, are more geared toward either the specific needs of the Library of Congress, which are not my needs, or they're geared toward managing collections of knowledge given a particular science background, which is what the Dewey Decimal System is. Whereas BISAC is more categorical. So like by having some formal categories, this means I can tie any piece of knowledge to maybe another entire group of collection of research or published material, basically. And so like this is what will link my writing in with like what other people have been doing. Then there's another section, a project definition section, which is, did I spell that no, okay, I did spell it right. Which is basically my project management scaffolding. Like when I'm doing a project Kickstarter or meeting someone to discuss and define a scope of work. I'll ask them, what is your intention? What is your motivation? What's your expectation? What's instigating this right now? That you learn a whole lot about a project that like the prospective client may not have known to portray. A lot of people will come up to you and say like, I want 3 web pages that are blue for my business. But they're not communicating the full extent of what they want to do. So you need to, so what is the specific action? That's actually, the one they started with, I want to make these 3 web pages. What's the motivation from having these 3 web pages? And you find out a little bit more. What do you expect to happen once you have these web pages specifically? And then what's making you do this right now? And that reveals most, I would say like 80% of the context you need to know about what you're actually making. Then stakeholders, that's everyone who's involved with any of this stuff. You need to know who those people are. Then you need to figure out what you need, what your budget is, and then what you're considering successful and what benefits you expect to get out of it. And so these are ways of just getting more specific about what a project is and what it's supposed to accomplish. And you can do this in about 15 minutes if you just go through this list. It's something I've been using for a long time. When I started doing doing project work at web agencies. Then the authoring section is where you actually write. The reader-friendly topical headline is kind of like thinking ahead of time. What is it that I'm going to write about? How do I express it in a way that other people will be interested in it? And then specifically, why is it interesting and examples of its use, the form of knowledge, and then the content blob itself. And I've added some references here, like what are the forms of knowledge I'm considering. So when I'm writing an article, it may not be a full-blown story article. It might be a little piece of an ongoing piece of research. That's what this blog system is going to be. It's really a research capture and publishing system that allows me to share as live or as quickly as possible things I'm working on a daily basis. Something that I can't do very easily with the blogs. So the forms of knowledge will determine the kind of presentation you have. Like, is it a primitive concept? Is it a key concept? Is it a definition? So this is a way of breaking things down further. And I might just inline these things. So that's what I was working on now. I'm working on the content blob stuff, but here in the code I'm writing, I've been moving all these comments out into the wiki page here. I was working on yesterday on like, well, how do I define these things? And there was like 3 different ways. One is to create from scratch programmatically, which is what all these module calls are. Or I could read an existing file and then write changes to it and then write it out again as a new file. Or I can make a derivative of an existing file. That's what I just said. Well, you can either read it and then write it out, or you can read it, make changes, and write it out. Or you can read an existing one and base new work off of it. So the idea of being able to have an existing piece of knowledge, let's say like I have a fairly decent pizza recipe, for example, stored in this system, and I want to make a variation of that. And so what I would want to do in computer sciencey terms, I'd want to subclass or extend that recipe with a variation. Same base recipe, but give it an entry, have it import the thing, and then say these are the changes I'm making to it. So that would be, I think, something cool to do. So, and then the idea of having this whole system in the first place is be able to easily track what I'm working on and then continue to build on it, but having like a rich set of different. Well, this is a map of how I understand the world and how I learn things, basically. And so this is what I'm working on right now. So I'm going to work on this a little bit while longer and then probably switch to something else that maybe is more, I don't know, a little bit closer to the metal, because I'm still very in the early concept phases of this. Once they figure out how this formulas work, then I can actually start making some prototype code that actually tries to read and create these web pages. I have code that's like that in another project, so it's a matter of adapting it and then just seeing if it works. And the exciting part would be if I can get to the point when it actually makes a web page that I can upload someplace. That would be cool. And I guess the working system needs to be able to at least create a simple index and a simple home page. So that's probably a couple weeks from now. Before I get to that point, so probably November sometime, mid-November, I might have something working, and then that would be the beginning of my new blog after I convert all the old content to a static site setup. So that's kind of what's going on with me today. I was working on these things, eating bachelor chow. I guess what I should do is I should also update this. I haven't filled out this for today. So let's work on that. Let me grab this pen. Let me move over here. Let me steal some space from this cat. Let me point this thing down. Let's see. How's that working? Okay. Alright, so okay. The cat is gonna have to cooperate with me, so I'm gonna move these sticky pads. I like the idea of having these sticky pads with the actual functional to-do list. What I might do is try to find a strip of plastic that I can clamp into here. And so like I can move it from page to page, so if it was this wide, that might be pretty cool. Could I just move it, slide it out of the way or something? Something that just fits in here a little bit easier. That would be nice. So I'm going to move this to this page for now. The reason why I want a piece of plastic for it is because like sticking and resticking these things makes them less sticky. So let's see. Well, let's look at what I got done yesterday. Got a flu shot. Bought some groceries. I streamed and I started doing the blog trailer thing. Take a big long nap because I only got 2 hours of sleep yesterday. Started the blog rebuilding, and then the rest of the day was kind of flooding. I did not clean the basement, so I'm going to move that over, but there's some extra things I did with these plus signs. I had insight about making boring work an opportunity for amazing school work. And I think the reference that I was trying to mean by that was take a boring assignment and make it yours. Or as I used to put it in grad school, and find the secret thing that makes me smile. I'll just write out the thought more completely. When I do the review at the end of the week, actually it isn't either. When I do the review on Monday, then I can look back at these pages and see these things. I did check out something called Project Sansar, which is Linden Labs' new VR environment. They're the people who make Second Life. And I was unable to run any of the environments I tried yesterday on this PC because it seems pretty unstable. I don't think it's ready for prime time, or it's in beta, I think. But it's also not doesn't run well on my computer, apparently, which is a fairly decent computer. It's 2017. It's Friday. Let me see. I was up today at around 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm just running at the hour times here. Once I get that strip of stuff, let me add that to my cloud of tasks. Find, I guess, vinyl. Strips. And the notebook. Let's see. Maybe I wonder how it should be, how I should design it. Anyway, so one thing I wanted to copy was I wanted to look at cleaning the basement, or spend some time in the basement. So let's do that. I'll make it a number 2 priority. Spend 15 minutes in the basement cleaning. The number 1 task is to formalize or document Thaudomata doc format. What else do I want to do today? Let's see what's on this cloud of tasks. The major projects diagram. October blog rebuild, that's what I'm doing now. NaNoWriMo calendar. Buy luggage or storage. Clean bedrooms and basement. Buy stamps, cash checks. Talk to a reference librarian. I can't remember what I was going to talk to her about. Pay the therapist. I think it was about classification systems. It's another show will still that. I should just talk to my reference librarian and see how they can help me with stuff, if at all. When did I start streaming this? It's now 2 o'clock. I started on 1:30. It's been 19 minutes since I started, so let's call that 1:45. So what's up, Dave? This morning was Project 1. I made the Wikipedia, made Wiki in the GitHub. Moved stuff from main.js. And what else should I do? I guess I want to buy luggage. So I'll put buy luggage. As an errand, I might be able to knock a few of these other things off. I think I also want to work on the NaNoWriMo calendar too. So that is something I want to get out of the way today. And that is something I want to stream. So, okay, that's it for now. I think I might do the errands now. And then when I get back, do the NaNoWriMo. So I'll make a little list of things I want to do. Oh, here's an index card. So this is what I want to do. I need to look at luggage, and that means going to a place like TJ Maxx. Or what's the other place? There's two of them. TJ Maxx and what's the other one that's people go to? That's owned by the same company. Yeah, they'll have something cheap there, I think. What else was there? There was buy stamps. Maybe deposit checks. Let's do that. Checks. Expiration date on checks. I'm gonna have to get them reissued. I think that's look for vinyl. Maybe look into framing too. I think that'll work. What's the framing size I need? I'll do that offline. So, not a lot going on today. That's today's What's Up, Dave. Hopefully I'll have something interesting to show for Monday. I don't stream usually during the weekends, but I might do some co-working sessions for doing like things like the NaNoWriMo calendar or any other design work that I do. I should add that somewhere. There's the mega download. That's on the cloud of tasks. There's also the Patreon video, which I should get off my butt and do. But just want to make sure they don't forget those, so I put them on that list. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday. Boink. Wow, my hair looks terrible. My head's such a funny shape. What is that shape? Is it like a melon? Huh. Do not like.